Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mercedes. In today's video, I have a new collection from Cracked Polish to share with you all.
Show you a place where you gon' wanna move your feet.
This collection is called the Catchphrase collection. It is a 10-piece collection, so it's very large, but we have so many different shades and formulations and all of that. I can't wait for you guys to see. Now, this collection will be launching February 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. In addition to the 10-piece collection, I also will be sharing the Jelly of the Month. So Cracked Polish always creates a Jelly Polish of the Month. And then Monique is celebrating her 35th birthday this month, so she also created a special polish in honor of her birthday that I will be swatching as well. So happy birthday, Monique. You can purchase these polishes individually for $13 or the entire collection. I'll leave pricing details, all of that down below. I do have an affiliate code with Cracked Polish. I'll leave it right here and then also down below. I also have an affiliate link too, and I'll leave that attached or linked down below. So let's get into these lovely swatches. First up, we have Granny Walk, and this one is described as a metallic orange copper. This one had a really fantastic formula, very interesting formula too. I didn't think that it was going to build up as quickly in opacity as it did. You guys can see on that first coat, we get amazing coverage. It gives us this sort of like pearlized finish, but with an amazing formulation. I achieved opacity in 2 coats. I think long or short nails, 2 coats will work best for you. Sometimes with like these pearly like polishes, they tend to leave like streaks. As you're applying this polish, you can obviously see that, but then they do a really good job with settling, and once you do your 2 coats, your top coat, it's pretty much gone. You can't really even notice it. Love these slight subtle shifts that we're getting. This like greenish sort of yellow shift, kind of like a leading into like a prugly shade. I personally like prugly polishes, prugly colors, but I love that subtle shift that we're getting here. Just the intensity, the vibrancy of this shade, the formulation is very, very special. Enjoyed this one very much. Pictured our 2 coats of Granny Walk with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Shut the Front Door, and this one is described as a dark, vivid blue packed with blue and aqua shimmers. Again, another beautiful formulation, another very, very pretty polish. I'm loving the variation of colors and finishes that we're getting with this collection, and we're literally just on the second polish. I can wait till you guys see the rest of the collection. On that second coat, I get full opacity on my shorter nails. I'm going to say 2 to 3 for everybody, just depending on how you polish and your nail line and all of that. This one, oh my god, it was just dancing. The shimmers, the sparkles were dancing in the sunlight. I usually swatch at night, but I was swatching midday, so I had some sun peeking in from the window in the room, so it was a perfect opportunity to show it off to you guys. Loved how bright and bold this was. I love the darker shifts that we're getting around the perimeters of the nail. We see like a darker deep blue / violet, but the shimmers are what's really the star of this polish. Pictured are 2 coats of Shut the Front Door with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Trying Out Here, and this one is described as a burnt tomato red with a hint of purple and blue shimmers. Another one with an amazing formulation, and then just these blue shimmers are really what's calling to me in this polish. On the first coat, we get pretty good coverage. You can see that burnt cherry tomato red sort of leaning like brown, like with brown undertones on that first coat, and then on the second coat, that's when we're really building up that base color. So we start seeing that darker shade of like brick red, and these shimmers are still coming through. You can sort of see that subtle hint of blue peeking on through. Now, I did 2 coats. Looking back, could I have done a third? Possibly, but I was happy with that with 2 coats on my shorter nails, so I'm going to say 2 to 3 for everybody. In daylight, in sunlight, that's when you can really see the vibrancy of those blue shimmers. We can still see them in low light and regular like indoor lighting, but they don't pop as prominently as they do in like daylight. It's enough in that like indoor lighting to give us a subtle color change within the base of the polish, but man, in the sunlight and outside, it's just so, so pretty. Pictured are 2 coats of Trying Out Here with a glossy top coat. Here we have Any Hoosers, and this one is described as a neutral metallic brown. Such a simple explanation for such a pretty polish. And I feel like that with a lot of these polishes, very simple explanations, enough to give you just what you need for the description. But I feel like there's something more. Monique did an amazing job with this collection. Definitely one of my fave collections so far. First coat, we get good coverage. On the second coat, that's when we really achieve full opacity. You can see the metallic finish pulling on through. Metallic polishes, like pearlized finishes, can sometimes leave streaks. As we're applying, we can see that, but they all do their job and they settle in. You apply a glossy top coat, can't even notice anything. Everything settles down and you get this beautiful mirror-like finish. The shimmers are dazzling in the sunlight and outdoor lighting. We can see the shimmers in regular lighting as well, peeking on through. Love the subtle darker shifts that we're getting with this polish. This is something where I feel like you can wear all year round. Just one of those polishes for everybody. Pictured are two coats of any Hoosiers with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Wow, and this one is described as a dark blurple with purple and blue shimmers. Again, we have those purple and blue shimmers. Something about those shimmers are so special. They all blend in so well with some of these polishes. On that first coat, we can see how jam-packed the shimmer is in this polish. Not enough for us to get full opacity with our base, but on the second coat, we get full coverage. I'm going to recommend 2 to 3 for everybody on this one, just depending on your nail line preference and all of that. This one was bright and vivid and so fun. This one I feel like I definitely would wear in the summertime. Definitely a pedicure polish. We get those lovely shifts of purple. You can see on extreme angles right here, and it does give us that depth and dimension. I mean, the shimmer is enough to also give us depth and dimension, but with those subtle shifts that we see, we get even more of that. Pictured are 2 coats of Wow with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Crisis Averted, and this one is described as a black packed with teal and holographic shimmers. This one was definitely like the vampier sort of shade in the collection, but with a twist, because with all of the shimmer and the hollow in here, we get a little bit of color. Now, this is a black base, but because, like I said, the shimmer and the holographic shimmer in here, it gives us like this sort of like tint of purple with our polish. So 2 coats, I achieved full opacity. I want to say 2 coats for everybody. You can see the teal shimmers peeking on through, looking dead on. In the sunlight, is absolutely stunning. We can see the rainbows. We can see the teal shimmer even better. In indirect or just like regular lighting, we get this nice dark wash of color on the nail. Now, we can see the black at the edges, right? But the shimmer and the holographic shimmer are so jam-packed in here. Like I said, it doesn't exactly look like a black polish, which I am personally okay with. It just adds so much fun and color to this polish. Such an interesting shade. I really, really enjoyed it. I love black polishes that have sparkle in them. So good. Pictured are 2 coats of Crisis Averted with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have O, and this one is described as a shimmering pearl magenta. All my pink lovers, you're going to really enjoy this one. On that first coat, we get this nice wash of a pearlized finish on the nail. We don't see that many streaks. Everything is settling in super, super well. On the second coat, we get full opacity, or I get full opacity on my shorter nails. I want to say 2 to 3 coats for everybody for this polish because it's such a lighter shade. I was okay with it with 2 coats on my shorter nails. We get this beautiful pinkish purpley finish on the nail. The shimmer is so pretty. It gives us like this icy cool vibe with the shimmer in here. I'm loving the pearl vibe that we're getting from this polish too. It's a very like mirror-like finish. Obviously I have a glossy top coat over it, so it just adds to that glossiness, that mirror-like look, but just that pearl finish just adds an extra oomph to this like polish for sure. Pictured are 2 coats of O with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Shinx, and this one is described as a neutral brown with red-orange shimmers and bronze glitters. On that first coat, we go on really sheer, but we can already see the glitters. They are distributed evenly on the nail. On the second coat, we get a nice, beautiful wash of brown on the nail with lots of shiftiness. So we see some orange and gold and a little bit of pink in there too. I did 2 coats for this polish. Longer nails, you might want to do 3, so 2 to 3 for everybody. This one was such a dainty, fun, neutral polish. I know I've said this a million times before, but if I'm going to wear a neutral polish, it's going to have some shimmer, some components, definitely some pizzazz and fun in there. And this one definitely was it. This one I could see having topper capabilities. I'm not showing it off that way to you guys, but you saw on the first coat where we did get like a wash of color on the nail with the glitters, that it definitely has potential for a topper. So keep that in mind. But pictured are 2 coats of Shanks with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have It's Hard Out Here, and this one is described as a metallic lime green with gold shimmers. What I love about cracked polish is that Monique, our maker, she's not afraid to include these polishes or these polish finishes that we normally don't see or get a lot of, right? So like metallic like finishes or like pearly like finishes. We see them, but not often, or at least I don't see them as often, right? But they're done so well. They're done so well, and I feel like as time has gone by, or as cracked polish has grown, we've seen the formulation just improve with these formulations, and that's what I love. We get different finishes. I appreciate that because I have such a large collection. But anyways, back to this polish. I built it up in 2 coats. It was such a beautiful finish on the nails. We do get that metallic-like feel, that look, that mirror-like effect. The shimmers are jam-packed in here. I think long or short nails, 2 to 3 coats will work best for everybody. This is definitely screaming spring and summer. Pictured are It's Hard Out Here with a glossy top coat. Here we have Cutie Patootie, and this one is described as a lilac baby pink with blue aurora shimmers and pink glitter. So this one is like our very ethereal, airy like polish of the collection. On that first coat, we get pretty good coverage. You can see the aurora shimmer, the blue aurora shimmer just peeking on through, like it is glowing hard. On the second coat, I was happy with the opacity on my shorter nails. I'm going to say 2 to 3 for everybody. What I loved most about this polish is those pink glitters. They're a little bit larger, which you would think, like with this like daintier sort of base, we would pair more petite, more smaller, more daintier glitters. But this glitter is a little bit larger, right? And it just gives me like ballerina vibes, like the pink tutu with like the glitter on there, just sparkling on stage. Love the finish, love the components. The glitter pairs so well with this base. The blue aurora shimmer is just enough to give us that nice shift and glow from within. Pictured are 2 coats of Cutie Patootie with a glossy top coat. Here we have Lavender Chai. This is the jelly of the month. So Cracked Polish does a jelly of the month. This one is described as a lavender gray crelly. Cracked Polish has amazing jelly polishes. I feel like when we first started seeing collections polishes, we had a lot of jelly-like finishes, and they were all amazing, and we still get them. I was thoroughly surprised on how much I enjoyed this one. Not a fan of jelly polishes, but I really did enjoy this one. I was completely ready to be like, all right, I'm going to swatch this and put it aside for de-stash because I already know this finish is not for me. Now it is in my keep pile because it is just so pretty. It has this beautiful wash of color on the nail. It has like that dusty tone, the dusty like vibe because it has that gray in there. I built it up in 2 coats and I was okay with that, but looking back now, I could have done 3, but I really liked how it looked on 2 coats. It gave me like this nice wash of color while still being bouncy and juicy. Really like this one. I think I'm actually going to use this as a pedicure color in the next like week or so. Pictured are 2 coats of Lavender Chai with a glossy top coat. Here we have Dirty 35. This one is the birthday polish. Happy birthday, Monique. This one is This one is described as a neutral bronze with soft pink magnetic pigments. So definitely a soft magnetic finish that we're getting here. On the first coat, we can see that lovely wash of color. We get the brown vibes on the nail, and we see that soft glimmer of pink in the middle, right in the center. I did 2 coats, and I was okay with that on my shorter nails. I want to say 2 to 3 for everybody. If you want more of a light, subtle look, I'm going to say 2 coats. You can obviously leave your magnet on for much, much longer than I did to get the most of your pink pigment across your nail. Or if you like this nice wash of color, then I'd say, you know, keep it on minimally like I usually do. But such a pretty polish. I definitely see Monique when I see this polish. I really enjoyed the contrast effect that we're getting with like the darker neutral with the like airier, lighter pink shade. So pretty. Pictured our 2 coats of Dirty 35 with a glossy top coat. All right, everybody, I do have a handful of favorites. I really, really enjoyed this collection. It is my favorite collection from Cracked Polish. So I do have a handful. The first one being Trying Out Here. I loved the addition of these like Aurora blue shimmers, or just like that blue contrasting shimmer. It is subtle, but it does, like, you can see it, and it does make a statement. Like, I can see it on the screen. I think you guys can see it too, but it is so pretty. And the opacity, the coverage, all of that was great. I have Wow. Loved how amazing the formulation was. Again, the formula for all of these polishes were so good. I love the vividness, the brightness of the shade. This is going to take me right into the spring. I know it's not like your typical spring color. I'm not a big fan of pastel shades, so I usually like to incorporate like components. But anyways, this one I can definitely see myself wearing it in the springtime. I have Shut the Front Door. Loved the color, again, formulation, the subtle contrast, the subtle shift that we got with this polish, just the shimmer too. It was just sparkly and fun. Enjoyed it. Crisis Averted. I know this one's more of a deeper sort of shade for this time of year. Not even this time of year. I know some brands are starting to release their spring collections or very soon, but where I live, it is very cold and there is still snow on the floor. So this is something where if I wanted to add it into my winter rack right now, or just, you know, maybe I just want to throw something different rather than wearing the polishes on my winter rack, my seasonal rack, then I have this as an option. I have the Jelly of the Month, and I literally was going to put this aside, like, because I'm like, I don't do jelly polishes, they're just not for me. And then I swatched it and I was like, wow. One, the formula was so easy to work with. I did 2 coats. Maybe next time I might do 3, but honestly, I really loved the squishiness that it gave me in 2 coats. And I think it's because it has that gray, that touch of gray in there, which sort of neutralizes it for me. I absolutely loved it. All right, everybody, that is all that I have for you today. Let me know if you are planning on picking up any of these polishes. Again, I have my discount code. I will leave that down below for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.